Hello, this is Arthur Baldwin. Um, if you haven't noticed yet, this doesn't look like Windows because it's not Windows. It's Linux Mint version 21.3, and it's very much like Windows 7. For those of you who disliked Windows 8 and Windows 10, and perhaps even Windows 11, um, this is very much like Windows 7, which was the best version of Windows that I ever used. And there's not much difference. If you look right here on the little LM logo, it acts like the start button on Windows 7 and brings up a menu. And if you hover over the first menu column, um, you'll notice that the second column changes as you're moving the mouse over the first column. And you have a wide variety of software available. If you want to install any software that you don't have, you simply go to the software manager. I just clicked on the icon here and it'll come up in a moment. There's the software manager, and you can search for any software that you prefer. And here I'm looking for GIMP, and I can see that it's already installed. There's a green check mark there. So it's already been installed. And sure enough, if I look down here, there's the icon there. That's for GIMP, which stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program. It's very much like Photoshop. And there's very good software for Linux. Um, there's not much that's missing except for 100% compatibility with Microsoft Office and some of the games, especially first-person shooters that are available for Windows, won't be runnable on Linux. But Linux has a lot of games of its own. Um, Maybe not the ones that you're used to in Windows, but they're pretty high quality games. And so I would encourage you, even if you're a gamer, to consider switching because the games in Linux are pretty darn good. Um, and Steam also works with Linux. The company that makes Steam has software designed for Linux, which runs a lot of the games that run with Steam on Windows. So there's more and more games being ported over to Linux every day. Um, why should you use Linux? Because since the year 2000 and possibly before, the NSA, the National Security Agency, has had employees of theirs working on the Microsoft campus in Redmond, Washington, and they've worked hand in glove with Microsoft to design Windows to spy on everyone who uses Windows. And that applies to all versions of Windows from 2000 onward, which is now 24 years worth of spying on Windows users. So, if you don't like being spied upon, consider using Linux instead of Windows. It doesn't have any built-in spyware. Its focus is on security from the very beginning. Microsoft basically has no security. and I mean that seriously. Um, Even if you use a secure password in Windows, there's software that can easily grab and change that password. Um, it's available to everyone, that software is. And there's software that is used by the NSA, FBI, and CIA, and DEA that's designed to waltz into any Windows computer with or without a password on it and be able to look at all your files, all your activities, etc. And chances are quite good that the same software that is being used by those agencies is now also available for a price to people who work for mafias and people who like to steal from other people. So, for that reason, I'm serious when I say Windows has no security. If you want better security, go to Linux. It's not perfect, but it's much more secure than Windows. Many times more secure. And it just runs faster. Windows 10 and Windows 11 are unbearably slow. After you use the OS for a while, it gets slower and slower and slower, and you have this idea that it's never going to get around to doing what you asked it to. That's not the case with Linux at all. Linux does what you ask it to immediately. And it runs pretty good on older hardware that's slower overall, without getting in your way. So when you put that with the security focus that Linux has, the performance, the reliability, the blue screen of death happens less often with Windows 11 than it did on Windows 10. But that's due to the fact that a lot of the crashes, instead of popping up the blue screen of death, they simply ignore it and don't report it to the end user. And it has a recovery system so that when things crash like that, the system does not actually halt. It goes into a limp mode, does not report the error to the end user, and just fakes that it's working perfectly well when it's not. So, if you like that kind of behavior, fine, stay with Windows 11. But I'd rather know when something crashes, and I'd rather be able to use Linux where I can stop crashed programs, I can restart crashed programs, I can view programs that are running, the tasks that are running, and I can stop them on a whim if I want to. I can easily reinstall Linux if necessary, which doesn't happen very often, but once in a while. So, personally, I haven't used any version of Windows at my home now for, I think, since 2016, because Linux Mint is just a joy to use. It's been vastly improved from 2016 until now, and I'm just spoiled. It would be absolute torture to make me go back to Windows at this point. I hate Windows with every fiber of my being. and I can show you how to use your computer more effectively and get more done by using Linux than you can using Windows. So that's how strongly I feel about this issue. Um, if you're still using Windows, all I can say is good luck, and I hope you don't blow your hair out. So anyway, that's that. If you want to install Linux, talk to me. Call me on my phone number, 909-367-8003. Or you can email me at support@mobilepcclinic.net. Either way, I'll be open to answering all your questions and giving you prices, etc. A house call is $60 now. I had to increase the price because of gas. And an installation of Linux is going to cost $20, so for a total of $80, you'll have your own copy of Linux and a couple hours of free training on it. So if you want Linux, let me know and I'll show you how to make good use of it. That's it for now. Thank you.